And I want to talk a little bit more about fueling. So many runners, they think nutrition is just carbs and protein. What are we missing when it comes to women's wellness?
So really a lot of the good fats, like think of a car or a machine, like, it doesn't go very far without oil, to grease the wheels or it gets really clinky and rusty. And like, we don't want to be that way. I think who even wants the sound of rusty in their
Yeah.
adjectives that describe them, right? So, but no, the good fats are also like we need fat. Fat is what creates our cell walls. And like as we're replenishing our body, fats are great for helping to lubricate our organs and help with our joints. If we're not getting enough fat or not getting enough hydration, that's usually taken from the joints first. And
Hmm.
then that's where we start to have abnormalities in our joints to try to protect us or create a stronger joint, which then sometimes limits the range of motion. And, it's whether it's inflammation. Or we get some arthritis in certain areas. Or if you probably find, I call them my canaries. The
Yeah.
areas that were once injured become
Yeah.
really squawky and loud, and so then I kind of it's a little bit of a wake up call for me to be like, hey, maybe you need to start to look back at, are you getting enough of the good
Right.
stuff? Are you eating a well balanced diet? And a little bit of a misnomer. There's no food that's just one macronutrient. They have a little bit of all proportions. And when we are looking at that from a caloric intake, remember your body is really not a Bunsen burner. If you're a highly active person or you live an active lifestyle, remember that if you're eating more high quality foods, your body's probably going to utilize that and efficiently burn it
Hmm.
rather than not knowing what to do with it. So what does the body do when it's confused? It'll usually store or it'll kind of shut down. And that's where we get inflammation in our gut or maybe like some side effects, some allergies that then make us not feel so good. And then there's always the cascade that comes from that.
Yeah. And how do you think the restriction culture shows up in endurance sports, like even for healthy runners?
Well, I can relate to this one because a lot of the time you get those nerves where you don't want to eat.
Hmm.
And you forget that, like, maybe you haven't had a good meal, if you say
Right.
you go out and you do your run and then you get back and then you're showering and it's like 2, 3 o'clock and you've really not put anything into your body, you're definitely there in a depleted state. And so even if you're not getting those signals, something small to really just stimulate your body's process is important,
Hmm.
as well as making sure that when you do have a good meal, it is really balanced. You get your calories because otherwise you do start to lose it from the good stuff like your muscles that would keep you going or help your posture, a lot of the internal organ muscles that you don't even think about. Again, another aspect of our body we
I
forget
know.
to thank and give it in our gratitude list every day. But all of those things that ultimately start to show aging later on. I had a doctor talking to me just the other day and he was like saying to me how because of my brain body conditioning, because of what I do with work, you know, we're really good at being able to understand our bodies, compensate in our bodies, and usually because of the innate way of our bodies designed to survive, we do a really good job. And he said, but your body about 10 years from now will start giving out and you'll wonder what's going on because you've always
Right.
been able to do it before. And so it's really about the sustainable aspects of life, the sustainable habits and really working with your body because the body we're building today is the body we'll really be living in the future. We didn't listen to our grandmas or our moms when they said wear sunscreen or brush your teeth or like, we didn't really listen to them then, but we start to see it the next decade and the next decade. And so again, it's something to just remember that like we are human beings and we have great stories to tell from our scars or our fine lines, whatever it may be. But if we really want the longevity and keep doing the things we love, like getting out and running or lifting our
Hmm.
grandkids or, playing pickleball, then just remembering to honor our body and what it needs today as well as 10 years from